They can give as much money as they want to any candidate, and they don't have to be revealed publicly where the funds derive.
Derive. Derive means to obtain something from a specific source. For example, I can say I derive my income from the work that I do. Or I derived an answer from the premises that I was given. It's also used in a passive way. So you can say that this word derives from another word, or this word is derived from a previous word. To derive means to determine where something came from. For example, you can say that one law derived from another, or in the stock market, you can have one security that is derived from another security, and these are called derivatives.
So you can say this word. We discussed culpable, and we said that mea culpa, we can say it derives from old, let's say, Greek
or
language.
From Latin. Mea culpa derives from Latin, or a word can derive from Latin. One word can derive from another.
Can you say that most of my income derives from freelancing?
You could say that too. It just, in this case, it just means come from, comes from. Or in mathematics, you can talk about deriving an answer. So I was able to finally derive the answer based on the information that I was given, or derive a conclusion based on the premises of the argument.
So this is meant now that people who are incumbent, who have some vote to sell in the future or in office, have a plethora of money. And
a plethora is just a fancy way of saying a lot of something. So you can, instead of saying I have a lot of money, I can say I have a plethora of money. Or
a lot of opportunities, you can say a plethora of opportunities.
Exactly. It's just a fancy way of saying a lot of something.
I thought when I left office and now that the United States should have diplomatic relations with Iran, and within the bounds of propriety and diplomatic niceties, that we should have maximum communication between Washington and Tehran.
Bounds refers to a boundary, typically a boundary outside that you do not want to go. So you can refer to the bounds of the law. If you go outside the boundary, that means you're breaking the law. The bounds of the law would be the things that you can and you cannot do. For example, you can sit on a park bench, but you can't steal the park bench.
So within the bounds of the law means it's legal to do something.
You have certain rights that you can do that are not breaking the law, but if you go past the rights of what you can do, then you're breaking the law.
You are driving a 45 miles an hour in a 50-mile zone, then you are within the bounds of the law.
Exactly. If you're driving 60 miles an hour, then you're outside of the bounds of the law. So the propriety refers to proper behavior. Traditionally, propriety refers to different people having different types of behavior that are proper for them. So, for example, if you're a police officer, certain behavior might be expected that for other people it's not so expected. Or if you're a doctor or a professor or some high-level position, people might expect you to behave in a respectful way. So propriety technically refers to behavior that's proper for each person. So within the bounds of propriety means that someone is acting within the limits of the behavior that is expected of them.
Or according to the norms of propriety.
Or
so when
according
they talk
to the
about norms of propriety, that what is implied is the etiquette rules.
It refers to etiquette. It can also refers to proper and improper behavior that's lawful. For example, accountants are expected to give honest advice. If an accountant gives dishonest advice, for another person that might not be illegal, but for an accountant to do that would be illegal. Similarly, for a regular person to say something to someone might be legal, but if a doctor were to say it, then it would be illegal because a doctor is expected to act like a doctor or a lawyer or
And
other
oftentimes
professional.
it's not only the question of legality, or it doesn't reach that level. Oftentimes it's professional ethics, right? So
That's correct.
the propriety is related to professional ethics. It's not necessarily legal or illegal, but it's good practice and it's expected to behave in a certain way.
Exactly.
And I don't blame him or the United States for that lack of communication, because it's been a reciprocal aversion from Tehran against it as well.
Reciprocal refers to something going back and forth. In this case, it's a social convention. We talk about reciprocal behavior. If someone treats you nicely, then you should treat them nicely too. They also call it reciprocity. If someone does something nice for you, then you should do something nice for them. And
So you can say they responded with reciprocity.
They gave reciprocity. Or if someone gives a gift to someone else and they don't get a gift in return, you could say that I gave him a gift, but there was no reciprocity, which means that I didn't get a gift back, so the behavior wasn't reciprocal. And this is important for both people. It's also important for countries, different companies, anytime there's a mutual relationship between different parties.
And so a synonym for reciprocal is mutual. You can say we have reciprocal respect or mutual respect for one another.
That's correct.
And also, if you mentioned a noun that derives, here is our previous word, derives from reciprocal, which is reciprocity, but also there is a verb to reciprocate.
Reciprocate, right? And that can also refer to a motor. We talk about a reciprocating engine. That's just a car motor. The piston goes back and forth.
You wrote a nice, flattering blurb to an author, and then that author reciprocated with the same favor to you, right?
Exactly. When you can also talk about returning favors.
Would you ever go to Iran?
Well, I'm persona non grata in Iran. You know, they build up a publicity against me when I was president and during the Iran.
Persona non grata. That's a Latin expression, and it basically means a person that you treat as a non-person, that you do not want to treat in a friendly manner. Persona means person, non means no, grata means greet. So it's a person you don't greet. So for example, if
a person who is not welcome.
Or a person who is not welcome, right? So for example, if there's someone who the government does not want to let into the country, that person would be persona non grata. Or if two people are having a feud of some type, then if one person has a party, they're not going to invite the other person because that person is persona non grata. Or oftentimes if someone gets fired from a company, they don't want that person coming back and visiting them.
They might be blacklisted. If it's a big corporation, the person will try to land a job in a different location, then and fail, then you can say that person has become a persona non grata.
Exactly. Or you can just describe someone you don't like. You can say, I don't like him. As far as I'm concerned, he's persona non grata.
That's all for today. Tom Taylor is an ESL tutor. He teaches English in the United States and outside, all over the world using Skype. He can be reached at his website, which is
ESL-fullsteamahead.com.
click on this link and check out his website and email with questions. Thank you, Tom, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.